When the pressure mounts, human instinct kicks in. We are wired to seek the path of least resistance, looking for an immediate escape hatch to avoid conflict and find emotional relief. Telling a lie acts as that perfect instant escape. It diffuses tension on the spot, keeps the peace, and offers a quick hit of comfort by giving people exactly what they want to hear. But that comfort has a steep price tag. The moment the lie leaves your mouth, a quiet, low-grade anxiety sets in. It takes a root in the back of your mind, a constant reminder of the fiction you now have to maintain. We tell ourselves it's worth it. We're afraid of rocking the boat, terrified of losing a friendship, dreading the judgment of our peers, and desperate to avoid a face-to-face confrontation. By prioritizing that fragile social harmony, we make a terrible bargain. We might save face with the room, but we lose respect for the one person we can't escape: ourselves. If we map out this internal conflict, we can visualize two intersecting circles, one for external pressure and one for your internal values. As the demands of the world push harder, the overlap shrinks, forcing a direct collision with what you know is right. If you choose to stay quiet just to keep everyone happy, that initial discomfort doesn't fade, it multiplies. Each day of silence adds another layer of stress until a tiny omission snowballs into a massive psychological weight. Eventually, you hit a breaking point. A line is drawn where keeping a relationship intact requires you to completely abandon your sense of right and wrong. You have to ask yourself a hard question. Is preserving a bond built on conditions really worth destroying your own internal integrity? Unlike deception, the truth operates on completely different mechanics. It doesn't need your help to survive. It is entirely self-sustaining. Think of the truth as a single solid block on a timeline. You don't have to crop it up with elaborate narratives, endless justifications, or a web of supporting evidence. It stands entirely on its own, immune to the stress of scrutiny. This introduces the concept of temporal proof. As days and years pass, time itself becomes the independent validator. Even if no one believes you today, the arrows of time point right back to the facts, acting as an infallible witness. A lie, on the other hand, is a full-time job. As the timeline moves forward, the fictional structure becomes brittle. You are constantly patching holes, adding new fabrications just to keep the precarious tower from tipping over. Imagine the relief of dropping that burden. When you stick to the facts, all that mental scaffolding falls away, leaving you with peace of mind. Manufactured arguments have a strict expiration date. Time wears them down to nothing, while simultaneously amplifying the raw, unadorned truth. We often try to measure a person's worth using the loudest metrics available: their bank account, their social status, or the influence they wield. But these are hollow indicators. The real test of character is much quieter. It's measured entirely by how firmly you hold your ground alongside the truth, especially when everyone else in the room is against you. Speaking the truth forces a reorganization of your social circle. It strips away connections that depend on silence, leaving behind only the relationships that can survive the light. The compensation for that social loss is profound. Even as the external structures around you break, you guarantee the absolute preservation of your conscience. You remain free from internal conflict. People who choose this route rarely move fast. While a deceptive world races frantically to stay ahead of its own stories, the honest traveler takes measured, deliberate steps. It might not be a quick ascent to the top, but every step is built on solid ground, ensuring a life lived with quiet, unyielding dignity. This doesn't mean you have to broadcast every observation. There is a real, tactical value in a strategic pause. Silence can be protective, and not every situation demands a spoken verdict. The calculus changes when staying quiet makes you complicit. When an injustice is unfolding or a critical decision hinges on reality, speaking up crosses the line from optional to mandatory. That is exactly when the alarm bells in your head go off. You fear the immediate backlash, the potential loss of status, and isolation from your peers. Looking at the logic of this decision, fear sits as a massive roadblock. But if you treat fear as an obstacle to acknowledge rather than a compass to follow, you can draw a line right past it, focusing solely on what needs to be said. Pushing past that mental roadblock when it matters most is the ultimate flex of human agency. It proves that you and not your anxieties are in control of your life. Once you decide to speak, the execution matters just as much as the intent. The delivery mechanism requires deliberate softness in how you choose your words. We tend to imagine honesty as a hammer. We think that to be effective, reality needs to be delivered bluntly, loudly, and without a filter. But the goal isn't to crush the person listening. You aren't trying to score points, win an argument, or establish dominance by breaking their spirit. The singular objective is clarity. You offer a beacon to someone navigating deception, piercing through the fog to show them exactly where they are. Combining hard facts with softness reveals the path out of a lie. This approach clarifies the situation for everyone involved, protecting the conscience of the speaker while offering the listener a way forward.